Welcome to Annie's Pink Chair, and we are in part 2 of Fake News with Mary of Magdala, and I have my very special wisdom friend here from last week, Denise Goulet, who was also the founder of Worth Fighting For, a sex trafficking org, and also an amazing church that I love, ICLV in Las Vegas, her and her husband, Pastor Paul Goulet.
Yes. It's good to be here again.
Yeah, I just love that you're here. We got into this super heated argument, not argument, but discussion.
A dialogue.
Yeah, about prophecy and how, you know, you had heard a word of knowledge. This lady was going to come to your prayer meeting or to your Bible study, and she was actually going to want to commit suicide. So you delivered her and prayed for her, and then another woman saw that, came up to you and started, hey, can I talk to you? And pulled you to the side, and you said she was a witch.
Yeah. Well, I found out that she was, but she was, basically what she was doing, she read my mail from in the morning, and what I was sensing in the morning is a lot of fear and thinking, am I doing the right thing? Like, am I making any difference? So she actually tapped into that.
Yeah, she did.
But what caused me to look into it a little bit more is the way she looked. So there was but also how I felt.
Right.
She was saying the right thing, just like the Python girl in Acts with Paul. But it didn't come from the right source, and I found out that she was a witch. But you know, witches or Satanists, whatnot, there are sometimes, you know, often sent to churches,
right? They are, you know, and also they invite the demonic. That's part of their practice. Yeah, they invite the occult into their heart. Like they say, hey, you know, demons speak to me. Satan send the demons and they give me knowledge, and you know, and they're going to whisper in their ears. So speaking of the demons, because I want to talk about some demons today. We're going to talk about fake news and Mary Magdala. Okay. Because she had 7 demons. Yes. And a lot of people think she was a prostitute. Yeah. They think, oh, yeah, well, you know, she was a prostitute, she was a whore. But there is nowhere in the Gospels that say that. No. And so I don't understand how that happened, which is just bizarre. One of our, or several of our denominations actually believe that. But what was your take on that? Because I heard you do an incredible teaching on this, and I believe it was, I think it was in Paris you talked about this, when we were in Paris. About Mary of Magdala. Yes. Yeah, in Luke 8:2, and then other scriptures in Matthew and in Mark, they refer to Mary Magdalene. But the only thing that we know about Mary Magdalene is that she was, along with other women, following Jesus. Actually, it was unusual because Jesus actually elevated the women. He pulled them out, you know, of their... Women weren't allowed to study, even. No. They weren't allowed to study
they were not treated,
the Torah or anything.
That's right. So Jesus restored the women, you know, so, and she was one of them. And along with others, they were supporting Jesus financially. They were out of their substance. And what I found out from studying about Mary Magdalene is that nowhere in the scripture does it say that she was in immorality or prostituted or whatnot. It just said 7 demons, and she was also a businesswoman from Magdala.
It's so funny when you said nowhere does it say, but yet there's 7 demons. So I think the perception in our culture is, oh, if you've got demons, that means you're either a whore or you're an addict or you've got schizophrenia.
Exactly.
Not true. Not true.
Not necessarily.
Right? I mean, we have leaders in our earth that have demons, and we don't want to say their names, but they're possessed, some people, right?
Yeah.
So, or oppressed.
There's a demon of fear. There's a spirit of fear. There's all sorts, you know, of demons. So it doesn't mean that she was that, and so therefore we can't assume that. But was she perfectly bound? Yeah, because the number 7 is a number that has a connotation of like uncertain hominy. Because when Peter asked of, you know, Jesus, he said, hey, how many times do we have to forgive? And he said, how many times, Annie?
7 times 77.
Yeah. So that's a lot of times, and it's uncertain.
It's too many.
This woman was completely set free, and her life was completely changed and transformed when she had an encounter with Jesus.
And I love that because I can relate to the demon thing because I feel like I was oppressed by them. I don't know if I was ever possessed, so to speak, but because I accepted Jesus when I was 5, but who knows, right?
That's right.
But to know that she followed him because of the deliverance that she experienced, it had to be astronomical. And maybe to be set free from 7 demons or how many she had, I don't know what that, like how she could have felt. Like if you were bound by something making you feel like you had to stay somewhere or be a certain way or act a certain way, that relates to a lot of like my life that I used to live. Like Fallon was her name. And there was another dominance mistress named Tracy, and maybe those were demonic like altars. I don't know, but I do know this is I had to go into those personalities to perform and be fake and be the actress. So it doesn't mean I had demons. I just knew how to take care of myself, and I was manipulating to get what I needed to survive. And so who knows what really happened to Mary of Magdala. And Magdala was, they said, a town of debauchery, supposedly. And who knows what that means, but there was a lot of money in that town. So yes, she brought money to the disciples in Jesus, and maybe as an offering, as a support system, because obviously Jesus, he didn't have a job, but people just gave to what he did because he was a great leader and a rabbi to a lot of people. They called him rabbi teacher, right? That's right. So how did that relate to you? Because I know that you said that you can relate to her. Yeah.
Well, I remember in the earlier days, I was in the ministry when we first moved here and all that. It's almost like people were starting to ask me to come and speak, and I was like, well, I don't even feel like I have. I'm not good enough for this or whatever. I had to, build my confidence of who I was, and I went to a conference and I just said, hey, in Luke 8:2 it says that there was 7 demons in that woman. I said sometimes I feel like that's what Jesus did to me. Maybe I wasn't possessed, but I know I wasn't.
For sure oppressed.
I sure was acting like it sometimes, and like you're out of control or whatever with your anger and all that. Right. But Jesus, he saved my life. I was saved, but he really changed my life and transformed my life, because I was a very good girl, and I was going to Catholic church every Sunday and all that. But you know what I didn't have is a relationship, an intimate relationship with Jesus. I always felt like he was unapproachable, that I had to fix all these things before I can actually come to him. But when I realized that wasn't true, it's the actual opposite. And if I just let him take the wheel of my life, something beautiful happens. And so but how when many women were relating to this, like all of a sudden they're like, yeah, that's how I feel.
Stop.
They all of a sudden can identify with your vulnerability, with your authenticity. Right. So that's, if nothing else, to be known to be a woman out of whom Jesus cast out 7 demons is pretty interesting, right?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Come on.
How interesting is that? We're going to be right back, you guys. Yes. We're going to be right back, and we're going to talk about what it would be. What if you were that woman? What if you are that woman? What if you know someone that is that woman? What happens next? Stay tuned. Many of you might not know about sex trafficking, and I want to tell you something. It's in your own backyard. It's in every country, every county, every state, international. And I wrote a book about my own story of being sex trafficked in Minneapolis, Hawaii, and Las Vegas, called Fallen Out of the Sex Industry and Into the Arms of the Savior. You can go to our website at hookersforjesus.net. Let me tell you something about this. This is a page turner. Once you start reading it, you will not be able to take it and put it down, because I've been told this by many people. They actually were late for work, and one person told me they were up all night reading it. We also have it in audio version on Amazon. You can also order this from our website as well. This is in my voice. And just to note, we also have it in Spanish for if you have a person in your life that doesn't really speak good English. This was written completely in Spanish. And I just want to thank you so much for your support. When you purchase this, you are helping educate yourself and being a part of the solution to stop sex trafficking as we know it. Thank you. Welcome back to Pink Chair. We're talking about Mary of Magdala, the entrepreneur. The news that was put out about her for the last probably 500 or 600 years is she was a prostitute, whore, but she wasn't, you guys. So we were talking about getting the demons cast out of her, the 7 demons. And what was that like? What could that have been like for her?
Listen, all I know is when you cast out demons, you begin to see the real person that was hiding behind all these demons. When we did a deliverance one time, I immediately...
People don't know what that is. What is that?
A deliverance is when a demon is literally speaking for the person, is completely, like, has a person bound.
Like
and
a puppet.
Pretty much, yes. And this young man was possessed, we found out, and he said he had a legion and all that. That was like in the back of the church. In a room, and the minute the demon came out and the legions and whatnot, it's kind of like, what happened?
Wow, like a ventriloquist.
That could have been what happened with Mary Magdalene. It could have been, but again, we're only assuming that's the way it happened.
I just love Mary's faithfulness to follow him all the way in that journey of not only the good times in Jesus's teaching, the last 3 years of his life, but when he got taken into the trial.
That's right.
And I mean, it says that and there's commentaries that say she was in the background, listening and watching. And when he was being crucified, how she stood from afar.
Yes, absolutely.
And I thought about that today, this morning, and I thought, what agony.
How
could she watch her Lord be murdered in front of her like that? And she couldn't do anything about it.
Exactly.
Because it's the will of God that he wanted to happen in his life.
Well, she actually at one point brought spices to anoint Jesus' body, and that's when she encountered him. Resurrected Jesus, right? And this is what the Bible says. Blessed are the pure of heart, for they shall see Jesus. They see. They see the goodness of God. They see Jesus. They see. So when you have a pure heart, and that's what happened to her. She was completely cleaned up, cast out demons, but completely transformed.
Right.
And she's the first one to see Jesus resurrected, to the point that Jesus rebuked the disciples for their hardness of heart and for their unbelief.
Right.
Because they didn't believe that what Mary Magdalene was saying.
Yeah, because she came,
and running to Peter.
The Lord's not there. They, the Lord's not there. Come and see. They came and saw him. He wasn't there.
Yeah.
And then they left, and then all of a sudden she's there in the tomb by herself crying.
Yeah.
And the gardener.
Yeah.
The gardener says,
"It looked like,
hey, why are you crying?"
Yeah.
She said, "They took my Lord.
Yeah.
They took my Lord." He's like, "Mary." And then she said, "Rabbi, teacher." And then she realized, how did this gardener know her name? He didn't know her name. It was Jesus.
That's right.
So that touches me so deeply. Like, I think that was part of my healing, actually, to know that a woman was the first to see him in a complete, perfected body that still had the scars, but was resurrected. And that is just so powerful. That he would appear to the woman. Because it does say, about the woman cutting or stepping on the snake's head with her heel. Right?
That's right.
And then that completion of her seeing him resurrected from being crucified. And, there's so many stories about Mary Magdala. They say Jesus married her. They say they had a baby. They said there's a skull for the, all these theories. It's fake news, basically.
It really
there's
is.
no proof.
Actually, if you go to any commentary, they will actually say that. There's no proof. No biblical ground.
That she was married, had sex with Jesus, and even the gospel. I even read the gospel, which it's all fragmented, that they found. The supposed gospel of Mary, it's just kind of out there. It's not really, it doesn't really go with the gospel, so to speak. It's kind of got different language. So they're claiming, some people claim that is actually part of the gospels, but I, in my heart, don't believe it. Does not align with the gospels that I know, the language that was being spoken. So I wanted to also talk about your heart for women that have been sexually abused and trafficked. And we, a couple years back, went on a trip. You had texted me, I think, and said, hey, I'm going to Paris with 9 other ladies, and I'd like you to come with. And I was like, what? And you said, we're going to prophesy at this church, we're going to train them up, and then we're going to do some outreach. And I was just like, first of all, I would have just loved the church thing. I wouldn't have cared, because I love France, but the part about going to do an outreach in Paris, in the part of Paris where it's legal to sell yourself. Right now it is. It's legal. So the ladies stand in the doorways, and there is every type of lady. There's from underage to, remember the lady we saw? In the fur coat.
75 years old.
She was 75. She was beautiful.
She was.
Beautiful woman I want to call her a woman of God. She was an artist, had a painting studio.
She found out. We found out that because we asked her, well, she ended up giving her life to the Lord. And then we asked her what else was she good at and she loved doing, because she didn't know if she could get out of this profession.
Right.
Okay. And we found out she was an artist.
Yeah.
And she had all kinds of,
Really, really, it was so incredible.
Work done,
that reaching out to those ladies, and with you, and you coming with it, and of course everyone, she was my interpreter, because most people in France don't really speak full English. It's very broken. So it was really beautiful to pray over those ladies and to love on them and to just let them know that there's an alternative way. And we actually have a friend that helps women that are stuck in the prostitution and in sex trafficking, that she was helping us. We were passing out her card. And she's a wonderful woman. I love her so much. And her and her husband have such an incredible testimony. They're so powerful. And so I want to talk about that. But I also, when we come back, let's talk about your foundation and what you started doing. That you already were doing, but there was just not a name for it.
That's right.
So now you finally have a nonprofit for it. So we'll be back, you guys. I'm so excited, and I'm just so sad our time's going to come to an end. We have one piece left with Denise, and we'll see when we come right back. There is something so incredibly special, near and dear to my heart. It's my whole purpose for living and doing what I do with my whole team at Hookers for Jesus. Yes, I said it. Hookers for Jesus is our nonprofit. We've been doing work helping women get out of sex trafficking and helping them get resources. And with our Destiny House, a home for women that have been trafficked, they can stay there from 12 months to up to 2 years, and they come and get their full healing, get stabilized from the complex trauma that they've been subjected to by all the severe sexual abuse and physical and mental and emotional torture they've been with their traffickers. If you go to hookersforjesus.net, you can definitely partner with us. We really need your support. We need your prayers. We need donations. We need toilet paper. We need toiletries for the ladies. We need clothing for the girls. But we also need to make sure that these ladies have a 24/7 staff to lovingly take care of them, give them comfort, and pray for them. And that costs money too. Would you please partner with us? Just go to hookersforjesus.net and click donate. You can give through PayPal or Secure Give. Thank you. Welcome back to Annie's Pink Chair. This is our last segment with my precious friend that's full of wisdom, that's prophetic. She's my mentor, my pastor, Denise Goulet. And we're talking about, you started just reaching out all those years ago. And my friend is one of your friends, obviously. I used to work with her. And so she came to the church, and she came to the altar, threw her drugs on the altar, gave her life to Jesus, and you guys started praying for me, and then there was fruit from that. And so you've always had such a heart for ladies and just anyone that's been trafficked or marginalized or abused. I mean, your daughter has a counseling center called the Wellness Center, does trauma counseling. That's right. Just wonderful work that she does. And your whole family's incredible. Like your husband's got a degree in psychology and just loving people fully, right where they're at, and not judging them for what they've been through and whatever has made their life the living hell that happened from it, which I love. And so what prompted you, because I know that you started an organization called Worth Fighting For.
Yes.
And I love that name because why is it worth fighting for? And what is it about?
Yeah. I when I first moved here, I knew the word trafficking wasn't in.
Right.
Like, no one knew this. That was 28 years ago. But I knew that the girls that were being prostituted or taken advantage of or abused or whatnot, but especially the girls that were being prostituted here in Vegas, although it's not legal, I knew that that wasn't something that they had decided at the age of 5, when I grow up, this is what I want to do. I knew that this was abuse, a trap or whatnot, something that the devil wants to do in your life, take your life and destroy it. And so I began to ask the Lord, I said, Lord, I want to help those that have been abused like this, those that are taken advantage of, and those that are prostituted or whatever. And so I said, give me one. And so that's where we started. And what I found out is most of the girls that fall into that prostitution and whatnot, they're trafficked.
Right.
They are not willingly doing this. There's kidnappings, there's, like even you say, the pimps are trained.
Romeo relationships where they're toxic and they're coercive and manipulative.
I found out through you that the pimps, there's actually a training to become a pimp. And what does the pimp do to have, I mean, he goes after the needs that are not met.
He uses the prophetic, okay? He sees the gold in their hearts and he calls it out, but then he twists it for his own gain.
That's it.
To become the dominant abuser.
Exactly.
So that's a trafficker.
And he's looking for needs that are not met.
Right.
Just simple
for a little
need.
girl without a daddy. So they call a lot of the pimps, the girls and the young women and young boys now and transsexuals. They call them daddy. Daddy, because there's no daddy. And that's just it breaks my heart. I'm gonna start crying because it's really all what we need is to know that we have a father that loves us.
That's right.
So to take care of that, take advantage of the little girl or little boy, and so worth fighting for.
There's a movie that I watched about 2 years ago, and it was very, very difficult to watch. It was Sylvester Stallone, one of his last movies, and it was about trafficking. And in there, the pimp or the trafficker says, we do this because they have no worth.
Right. Wow.
And you wonder why I call this worth fighting for?
Right.
Everyone is as a worth.
Right.
And I want to be able to look at those that have been abused. There's like sexual abuse. There's all the way to being trafficked, prostituted, and whatnot. And there's Elizabeth Smart that was kidnapped.
Oh,
but
I
then
love
there's
her.
those that are that have fallen into the prostitution or the whatever. And so. They're all broken. Like, it's trauma after trauma after trauma. I want to be able to say, you're worth it. Because my organization, what we do is we raise money and whatever. We want to end trafficking.
Yeah, and you've done it for Destiny House many times.
Yeah.
Without calling it worth fighting for before it was.
We just want to meet some needs, but also we want to bring healing, restoration, healing of trauma. We want to help the girls, the women, the kids, whatever, to dream again and to know that, something cut in on you, but this is not who you are. This is not all that there is about you. You have way too much worth to actually be deceived into that. And we want to help you to be restored, healed, dream again, have the courage.
Yeah, you give them a new name. You talk about worth.
Yes.
I liked what you said about that movie because he said they have no worth, but you said no. Her name is worth.
Yeah.
She is worth. She's precious.
Yes.
She is worth fighting for, worth dying for, worth giving my life for, right?
Yeah.
And that's really, really the heart of it.
It's even the girls that have been prostituted. with a pimp and all of that. They have so much worth that we can't even put a price to it. Like people will say, well, how much does it cost to restore a girl? You know,
oh my God, I hate that. I hate that.
Grief. I don't know. Like all I know is
priceless. Okay.
A friend of ours that just recently was killed. We invested.
Right, you did
everything. Like
I know you did.
We all did. Like money,
and she loved
time,
you very much.
Love. And when I found out that she was, you know, rolled over, by her pimp, murdered, basically with a car, I was devastated. But then there was not one regret. Of all the time, energy, money, everything that we poured into her life, I was like, man, this was worth it.
Okay, stop.
This was worth it because she's in heaven.
Because I see her dancing with the flags,
yes.
you know, because she loved doing that. Yeah. And you know that she was like, before she died, she was saying to one of our girls in the house that was in there with her, she said to her, she just wanted me to record her on Fremont with the flags because it made her feel pure when she used the flags to dance. Because she knew she was dancing for God.
Yeah. She was dancing in our church.
If you have any footage of her doing that, can you send it? Can you ask your son and your team? Yeah. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cry, but that was one of the girls that you fought for and that we fought for. And she really loved you a lot. And I want you to know you made a difference in her life and all the counseling that the Wellness Center gave her. She loved her counselors. She was still going when she was on, you know, when she had gone back to her trafficker. So give us the information. We have to go and I'm so sorry. What is a way they can get a hold of you for Worth Fighting For?
Yes, it's worthfightingforlv.org.
Okay, worthfightingforlv.org. It's on the TV right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
And you can get a hold of us there. There's Lauren, there's Robin, there's myself, and some others. We're about to start like a self-defense.
Okay.
We call it an academy.
We're going to come.
Come on.
I'll bring the girls from the Destiny House.
Yep.
I love that part.
Yep.
And I'll never forget that because you guys did that a couple years back before it was called Worth Fighting For, and a lot of the girls got completely empowered with their self-awareness of their own strength that they could live in and not be afraid anymore of someone attacking them and choking them and pulling a gun on them. So thank you so much, Denise, for coming today.
Love you, my friend.
I love you too.
It was great to be here with you.
It was an honor. I want to have you back. I just love what you do. I love what you stand for, and just bless you, girl.
Yes.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
That's it, you guys. We'll see you next time on Annie's Pink Chair.